Greetings, everybody. My name's Knight, and today I'm going to be talking a little bit about astrology and how to help you use it as far as knowing the potentials of your future. I'm only bringing this video up and making this video because I had a couple people, I think one or two people, not a lot, but um, who wanted to know how can they know more about their future. So how psychics, tarot readers, we predict the future, or mediums. As you know, astrology, most of the time that's set in stone. But again, though, what people don't really talk about, I've noticed, is it's about how you react to whatever the universe, the luminaries, the planets that be, presents obstacles or lessons in your life, okay? And so however you react, right, that's what's going to happen for your future. So I give you an example. Say in your chart, I noticed for Aries rising, like a lot of us, it's stated that we won't get married or possibly get to our best part of our lives, whether money or love, after 35 or either 40 for some of us, not all of us, but most of us. And so even with that being told and that set in stone, it doesn't mean you couldn't find love early. But I'm a person that I'm just going to use Aries rising for example. You look at your vices. Okay, so look what Aries brings. It brings leadership, somebody very dependable, but also very straightforward, forward thinking, optimistic, very childlike, energetic. Now the negative side of Aries rising, or just Aries in general, is being anxious, being too quick to start things and not finish them, going to relationships and pretty much not staying with it because you might get bored in the connection. So I would say look at that and look at yourself. Really look at yourself and your emotions and your mindset. Like, what makes me feel bored when I'm in connections? What makes me feel anxious to want to be in a connection? Do I feel lonely, right? Because once you realize what's going on with you, that negative part of you, you can try to work on that. So when you jump into a relationship, you be more grounded and level-headed. And that's because you've also were able to use your discernment to pick the right partner that pretty much resonates with your energy. You know, they're not gonna be exactly like you, but you'll be able to work with this relationship going forward and be more stronger connected, because then you'll be less likely to be anxious and leave instead of waiting out just because you're bored or you don't see something right with it, and also being less conflictive because, you know, Aries can get angry as well. So this is what I mean by using your placements, right, and working with your shadow and light side of your placement, because every zodiac sign has a dark and light aspect of itself. Just like us humans, we have a light and dark aspect of ourselves, and we live in a world of duality. We must understand it. So even though we want to be all love and light, even the most loving person, even if they feel like they've healed all the way, you still had times in your life, even in this point right here possibly, where you've had dark times. Okay, so you might not have been evil, but might have been too depressed, a lot of negative thoughts towards yourself, right? Confidence issues, just a lot of things, right? And when you look at your chart, you can see where that comes from. Okay, so like for example, Pisces, you might be having a fear of intimacy, or afraid that somebody's going to leave you, and you might not stand it long enough, and then you escape. Because, you know, Pisces escapism, you know, also addiction. You might be drawn to drink alcohol, do drugs, right? Things in that nature. Same thing with Scorpio. You know, Scorpio's really good, very loyal. A lot of people like to talk down on the sign, but they have to learn not to be too dark, because their soul is kind of more dark place. Meaning not that you're dark in an evil way, but Scorpio is Pluto. We must understand this. It's Hades, right? So it's very transformative. So it's able to turn this darkness into light, but it is very misunderstood. But with Scorpio, it has to make sure it doesn't go too much into the dark, or it becomes malevolent and evil. All right, and then also must know that because of past lives and what it's done, it has to face a lot of debts. But again, doesn't mean it can't have a beautiful life, right? And also with that, it also has to balance its sexual side. It doesn't, you know, Scorpio, you don't want to just go straight forward into to the bedroom. You want to learn to control your sexual energy. It's very sacred, right? But you also don't want to suppress it. You have to have balance. And so I'm getting at this: when you balance it out and you get partners, you'll be more likely to have a better relationship because you're coming to them healthy. And this makes sense no matter how old you are, okay? Because and then again, because again, what I'm saying is, when you get this balance, they don't have to be the same zodiac placement. I even have this in your big three. It just, your aura, your energy is going to bring them into you, and this helps your future. So what I'm saying is this: I'm not here to break down every zodiac sign, they're good and bad. My whole thing is this: when you look at your natal chart, look at the aspects of the good and bad, right? Right? And your natal chart is showing you the potentials. For example, your Venus sign might be in Capricorn. So you might notice that you draw people to you in a Capricorn energy. They don't have to be necessarily a Capricorn. The person you might marry maybe possibly a Capricorn, right? Or that energy. Because like you gotta look at this. You might notice, man, I notice I draw a lot of cold people, but they're also hard workers, real loyal. Well, look at your Venus. And then if you don't like that, right, you might also notice that I'm getting Sagittarius. That's very close to that sign too as well. So just look at what's drawn to you, look what's in your chart heavily, and then try to start connect with people. It doesn't mean you need to ask questions with everybody. Oh, this your zodiac sign, what's your zodiac sign? Because we can't get caught up with just the big three, your sun, moon, and rising. We gotta look at everything in the charts we know. But what I'm trying to get at, going forward, trying to look and predict your future, right? Again, for example, like your North Node could be Taurus. You're meant to have abundance, a lot of material wealth, but you might be in a situation like myself, for example, where I'm still wanting to be more connected to spirit. My South Node's in Scorpio, my North Node's in Taurus. So, I give you an example, like me and my father, we bump heads a little bit. Like my dad's Taurus, and I'm peaceful with him, but he's spiritual in a religious way, but he's not as open-minded as me, because I look at all sides of life, the dark and light. He just is more stubborn, which is not good in the Taurus energy to be and just stuck in this one way of thinking. Now, for me, what I'm supposed to do is, the only thing I'm supposed to do is, because of my North Node, is be a little bit more like him, be more, I'm appreciative of things, but be more okay with accepting gifts, be more okay with having material things, because I love my home, I love where I have, but I don't get caught up in it because I feel like, from my perspective, it's just material. It is what it is. Like I'm grateful for, but I don't really sit here and worship my material. My dad, he's always been more a materialistic person, and I don't mean to throw shade on him. He's very religious, but material, I don't really care about that. So for me, I have to learn to appreciate everything that Earth gives, and also whether it be money or any of that. But just when I do that, I just gotta make sure I don't go too much in my ego and get power hungry and this Taurus energy all about I want this, want that, trying to be overly satisfied myself. So again, I'm just telling you how I can predict my future, because what happens is, what I'm saying is, if I fall into my vices, right, the negative side of my zodiac signs that's in my chart, what will happen is it will be hard for me to complete my task. So meaning I'm going to complete my destiny, but I might not leave Earth when it's time to go to the other realm in the most brightest of ways of light. And then what would happen is, not immediately, but I might be faced to do my self-reflection, my life review, and then be forced back to reincarnate again, to repeat and cycle, possibly as a Scorpio or another zodiac sign, and do it all over again, pretty much. Because, not every aspect of my life, but for example, say if I decide not to get married, but in my natal chart, it's definitely I'm meant to get married. That's one of my biggest goals, other than being successful. If I don't fulfill that, my soul's gonna feel some type of regret and feel disappointed with itself. And then because of this energy, other than the luminaries and planets directing me and telling me what my soul is meant to be, the omnipresent source Godhead, my own soul is going to want to come back, and I'm going to have to come back into the flesh and learn all these hard lessons. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. When you look at your chart, look at your light and dark, try to find some balance, see how you can work with yourself to heal yourself. Does it make sense? And so, that's how I perceive it, and this is what's helped me. Even an example, right? Whether you're a vegan or you eat meat, this is something I've been doing lately too. I know people like to fast. So like what I do is, when I look at fasting, I don't look at it just like food or trying to diet. I look at like spiritually. So like, for example, again, I'm a Scorpio. We have a lot of sexual energy. So whenever the moon's in Scorpio, like it is now at the time of this recording, I try to do things, not to suppress it, but meaning, how do I say this? If I've been known to reflect too much in the past, because that's a bad habit I've had, I try to just let it go and release it to God or the Godhead source, and not think about things. If my hormones are really jumpy because I'm a man, don't how can I say, be abstinent, from sex. You know what I'm saying? For those, those time periods. And I'm telling you right now, if you look at your vices, it helps you balance. If you do this three times every month, at least like for me, for Scorpio, it actually will get you in a routine where you'll be so used to this that you're not going to want to keep reflecting on the past. You'll be able to control your sexual thoughts and all that, and you'll be balanced. Same thing with Aries. If you know that you get angry real quick, and you know your parents and your siblings have known that you get angry real quick, take the time when the moon is in Aries, right? And work on your emotions, meaning reflecting yourself. But because y'all a little bit different than me, y'all can like balance out because that's a fire sign. You know, ground yourself. Try to ground that fire in you and really think about what makes me angry and then release it. Tell yourself release it. You know, write affirmations, release it. Okay? And then the more you do this, if you do this 3 times every month and release those anger issues, if you got anything like that, or if you notice you're anxious, watch how it naturally, without you thinking, your brain is gonna know there's no need to get angry. I wasn't the reason why I got angry. It was in my environment. You know, it's not that you're not taking accountability, but you might notice that other people haven't healed themselves. And then because you might be very sympathetic or very empathic, you're feeling the energies thinking that's your energy and it's not you. Okay, I'm gonna use Cancer for example. That's what Cancer does. Cancer can feel out the energy in the room. And sometimes they get so immersed in the energy. Same thing for Pisces, but a lot of the water signs, and they might think it's their energy, but it's not, and it's not even towards you. Like you might feel a soul from another female in the room that got cheated on, and you feel sad for some reason. You don't know why. It's her. You know, your boss might have come irritated. You didn't do anything wrong. That's them. But if you realize that that's a gift that your sign has, I'm using the water signs that y'all are empathic and things like that. Release it and let it go. Don't hold on to it, because again, when you go home, you're gonna realize, all right, it's not me. Cleanse yourself. And so, again, look at the positive and negative sides of yourself. Balance it out. Because your whole goal, how I look at like the vices will be my way of like how it's like fighting your own self, you know, as far as like you're bringing balance, but you're trying not to be malevolent, you know, because people don't know if you push any sign to the farthest point of, I guess you could say, to the evil side, they can do some damage. You can get, that's what, there's a lot of souls that are in jail because they went too much into their ego or their darker aspects. And this makes sense. And in religion, they might call that a sin, but they went too much into their vices. You know what I'm saying? Because every zodiac sign has a demon energy and an angel energy. This is why, from my perspective, religions don't want to mess around with it. I'm not saying astrology is bad, but I'm just calling it a demon and also an angel. I'm not saying they're actually real demons or angels. I'm just telling you, the demon would be the dark side, or the angel. I'd rather say demons, like the Greeks, in my opinion, because before the word angel came, everything was the same. But that's another story for another topic. But you gotta look like both sides of the house, man. Because the time right now, it's helped me out a lot. That's all I'm trying to say. I want to make this video too long. You know, looking at my good side and my bad side, like, you know, I know there's certain placements in my natal chart through my action, like my Mars. I'm Aquarius. I know so I like to talk, but I'm quiet though at the same time. I only talk when I feel the need to, but I also want to touch many souls. But I also have sides of me where, again, not now, but mainly when I was younger, there was also inheritance too. Inheritance, I would clutter and hold on to things too much, like material things, memorabilia, you know, and that wasn't good. I had to clear my energy. So also look at that too, because you'll start looking at your parents too. Like, you might not know all their natal chart, but you start realizing, okay, this is why my dad is affecting me. Because I give you an example again, when I say my dad, right? Me and my dad, we can go play basketball right now, but he's not perfect. I'm not perfect, but I noticed that my natal chart, because of my zodiac sign placements, it's already stated that this in energy that I'm in and how I was born, you will most likely have father figure issues. Not just my father, but any man in a masculine energy who uses it in a negative way. And some people might have mother issues or sibling issues, or some people might not have any of those issues, maybe more with money or relationships. So really look at that. And so when I realized that, right, I realized a lot of things that me and my dad are going through, they're just lessons. It's not my fault. It's not his fault. It's just things we carried out from a past life. And so instead of always like arguing and being combative with him when I was like younger, or him being combative to me, I learned to like, hey, it's okay. Let's release this. And then so now, if my dad ever was to argue with me, I pretty much, I'm not gonna say I'm silent. I just sit and listen, then I speak. Because I've always been a person, even when I was a child, I listen first, then I speak. And I always observe everything, because I was a shy kid growing up. And so now I've used these energies, the planets, and also the energy within me and my heart to heal my family and let them realize things in themselves so they can be accountable for themselves, instead of putting it on other people like it's their fault. I'm yelling at you and that and the third. Because don't get me wrong, there are sometimes people do trick us and they don't know. But at the end of the day, we're all interconnected, no matter culture, race, or creed, or country. We're all interconnected in some type of way. But again, we all have our own identity with the zodiac signs and DNA and everything. We have our own aura. We have everything is just unique to us. But we have similarities. So again, just understand this. And again, um, when you realize this too, sometimes you're gonna have to set boundaries too. I will say this: as much as we are meant to show love, we need to make sure we set boundaries, because some people might not be fully healed and they're affecting your energy. Because people know when you, and the more people you intertwine with, and sometimes we can't control it because we're working. It taints our aura a little bit. I'm not saying that you're gonna become evil, but it can taint your aura, because you might be surrounded by 30 coworkers in cubicles around you, and you know your aura stretches out 6 feet at the minimum. Some people who are really heightened, it's like 9 feet, if not greater. It's like big balls of light. And when we get next to each other, we're feeling each other. And then also, for example, I might have, for example, 12 spirit guides, right? Right? At one time they can come in, but most time I'm walking around 4 or 5. Now, some other people, they might have 4 or 5 spirit guides, but also negative attachments, like 6 negative spirits and maybe even 1 demonic spirit. And they don't realize that. And then you're talking with this person, wondering why your energy is low. It's not just their zodiac energy that's within them, their souls and their chakras, and your energy and your aura and what you carry from your past life. It's also the spirits that may be around them, maybe possibly even the deities or the demons and angels. So you got to really look at this. It doesn't mean that you need to think about this every day, but just be aware. It's more about like coming to realization about things to make your life smoother. So when we're talking about future, just to round this video up, when you're talking about future, you know, everything is a potential. Everything is about how you react. And even with the stars and the moon and all that, even though for the most part, most of the time it's set in stone, how can I say this? You still have a likelihood to mess it up. So I'll give you an example. Like, if you don't think it is the truth, there will be no reason for you to have an angel or demons around us, like a demon tempting you to do negative stuff, or even helping you, or an angel helping you, or the God source helping you, if you already knew you're going to go on the right path. So even though the omnipresence knows the most likely thing that's going to happen to you, you still have free will. All the spirits around you know you have free will, right? They can only do so much controlling with it. The luminaries, yes, they help. They put their energies within us or inside this flesh, but we have to see past the flesh, and we have to reach for higher evolvement and evolution through soul and spirit, to not just connect with our chakras and the luminaries. We have to surpass them, because that's what's actually keeping us stuck here. I'm not saying they're bad, but when you can get past that, then you'll reach that how can I say that light that we need to be at, as far as like past it. Because again, all these stars and moons and constellations are putting us in this like energy where we have to learn these lessons. Not just otherness saying we want to choose to be down here. It's just how life is meant to be. We have to go through these lessons until we get to a certain enlightenment point where we can evolve past that, so we don't have to go through different sun places. Being born as a sun, getting born as a Leo, Aries, all that will be done. We could just be a guide or just move on to another place to go. It's like a mind trick, because again, like, as much as we're supposed to respect nature and, you know, be at peace with each other, it's not easy when you have people being evil. And even if you're a person who believes in like draconians and, you know, demons and all these other negative energies, they still have to abide by certain rules, you know. But again, what I'm saying is, again, with the natal chart, it's showing your potential for your future. But if any time you decide to deviate from that, there's still another path, right? So like, you might decide to go on the evil path. At some point you're going to reach some type of enlightenment, but the thing about it is your aura could be very powerful, maybe more powerful than a light soul. But what's going to happen is when you pass away, that's where you're going. So whether you think it's heaven or hell or Hades or whatever, that's where you're going. And that's how you know your future. You know, if you're a love and light person, you feel like you're going there, there's a possibility you can go with a love and light, but you need to make sure before you leave Earth, if you can remember to do these things, to be balanced and do things from a loving standpoint in your heart of love, and do everything with pure intentions, and don't leave here cursing people. What I mean by curse people, pretty much wishing bad on people. See, it's one thing to protect yourself or return to center, but if you actually purposely doing stuff that actually hurt people's life on purpose when they didn't do anything to you, that's a big deal compared to you actually protecting yourself. This makes sense. And so what happens when you leave here, you're going to have to be faced with that reality, and also be faced with the spirits that helped you defeat your enemy. Yes, this makes sense. So that's how I look at hell or heaven or whatever you want to call it, or whatever dimension you think we're going to. And I'm telling you right now that it really helped me out a lot, looking at ways to balance my light and dark within my zodiac placements in my natal chart, but also looking at my environment. When I looked at my astrocartography chart, it showed me my environment, how the planets affected me. Because like if you look at astrocartography, you go to astro.com, I was able to look at the ley lines and how it affected me. You know, for example, I'm in Texas. Pluto puts me through a lot of lessons because Pluto's very dominant here. But I noticed that my sun sign was very strong in San Diego when I lived there, and also was very strong in Bahrain and Iraq. And I did a lot. I had a lot more energy. I was also even more bigger. I had more energy to want to work out. I had all that. And when I was in Japan, I noticed my moon side was very strong. So that's how astrocartography helped me, because I realized, okay, I'm more emotional here. I'm more tuned in here in Japan. My how can I say, I'm more connected with the God source. I had way more premonitions there, and also I had better love opportunities because I was more in my emotions. Not that I'm not now, but I was very sensitive. I drew better women to date. I had better relationships. Same thing in Iraq. I had better relationships because my sun sign was very powerful. So that's why I try to tell people to look at your astrocartography chart, because these ley lines will also tell you why you're going through stuff at your job as well. You might be like, well, why am I doing bad here? So I'll give you another example. Where I'm at here, I'm okay with my job here. I work here in Texas, but I noticed that I did better in Iowa, even though it was Midwest, because of how the ley lines work. It's like it's go off degrees. Same thing in San Diego. I got more accomplishments there, but I noticed in certain areas I wasn't, and it's because of the history of the land, but also the ley lines and how it's affecting my soul as a whole. It's not just about, okay, demons are messing with me, or my angels are not helping me, or I'm not connected with God. We're always connected to God. Even the negative energies know that they're connected to God. But the thing about it is, you got to look at how everything plays out. And I came to this conclusion because I've been doing this for years, but I really came to this conclusion when I was in Japan, and I was starting reflecting on the Greek philosophers and like Egyptian wise men who were wise, the high priests, the females, and all that. And I realized just how we have TV and all that, they didn't have all this technology, and it's like you just have to take time and just sit back and reflect on yourself. They had nothing but time to think. They didn't have distractions. That's pretty much what I'm trying to tell you. So if you can tune off on certain things around you and not trying to let yourself be distracted and focused, you'll have all kind of thoughts in your mind. Like there's times I went to sleep and I've had visions on how to heal my body, how to do things, and they will tell me certain things, and I'll look it up on Google or somewhere. I read a book and I'll find it right there. So I definitely agree how they said Nikola Tesla would go to sleep. I think that's a story, forgive me if I'm wrong, where he sometimes you have visions, he have certain thoughts in his head when you were resting, and he'll have all these amazing ideas. I'm very, very, very comfortable saying I believe that, man. And I know it for a fact off of me. So again, man, look at that. And also your zodiac placements will also show you why you might have nightmares and all that. Again, it carries out from a past life. It's not that somebody always threw a spell on you. So once you realize that, I'm trying to say it's going to bring peace. Well, it should. You know, it should bring peace. You know, instead of always questioning why I deserve this, I don't deserve this. I even had an assault issue. A dude tried to assault me, right? When I was 19, man. Seriously, it was not cool. And I had to realize, why did this happen? Did this happen because of past life? And I realized in my past life, a couple of my past life, I was very much in the dark arts. I did like a lot of betrayal and stuff like that with family. And so now in this life, I had to, how can I say, break that chain and do a lot of family healing, a lot of things like that, you know. And so I'm man enough to fess up that I know that that's what I saw happen in a couple of my past lives. And I had some good past lives as well, is doing great things, but I had a lot of past life mostly doing magic, technically. And I noticed that growing up in this life, I had a tendency to, even though I grew up Christian, I had a tendency to want to look at the darker aspects of life, but almost too much. This is what I was saying, Scorpio can dig almost too much, where we want to go into like the demon work. We want to go look at the dark stuff, or it's not that we do it for evil. We just want to research. We want to do it. We want to look into. We want to feel life, because remember, other zodiac signs might not understand this, but unless you got a heavy Pluto placement or a Scorpio placement where we are death. We are the death card. And then also I'm the number 15 in the natal chart. In my birth chart, number 15. 15 is an what do you call it in tarot? It's a devil. So that's crazy. Definitely dark energy there. You know what I'm saying? So that made sense why I was always seeing shadow spirits and paranormal things, because of what was running me and what keeps me loving, because on my life path 3 as well, and that's love, that's Venus energy. So it's very nurturing. So it's like the Empress energy. So I'm all connected to female energy. So I had to learn how to balance these energies. And that's why you see who I am now. And this is and again, it's like I felt this inside long ago, but I was kind of shy and timid to put myself on television and all that. Also because I was in the military before. I'm 39 years old, but I stood strong, and I really don't care if my family, anybody sees me, because I'm gonna be me, be authentic. I don't want to leave Earth with regret and be reincarnated again just because I was told and guided to help others and I do what I was destined to do. So that's all I had to say with that. I hope this makes sense. I put a little bit of stories by myself. I put a little bit of astrology because, again, this wasn't a video to really be telling y'all what each zodiac sign means, because there's so many people who have videos on that, but I've never really heard anybody talk about facing the shadow and light side of your zodiac sign to utilize it to know what's going on with you in your present moment, and also how to figure out what's going on in your future, because it does tell you if you're possibly going to have 1 or 2 children. It does say that, but it's not going to tell you if you need to go to another country. Are you going to be called to travel to another country or city? It's not going to tell you that. It might tell you the likelihood. If you have Sagittarius and Venus, you might have a likelihood to like to travel, but it doesn't tell you. It's not being extremely accurate. Tarot readings can actually give you that more because you're actually talking to a spirit, I will say that, or a medium. But technically, your soul already knows. You just got to try to follow the guidelines towards your destiny the best way you can. That's through balance, because we live in a world of duality. You can't just be picking masculine and feminine. I'm granted you can, but I wouldn't suggest that. So I can't really say can, because you have free will. And that's what makes it hard for so many people. They keep asking questions, why? I have so many clients on my how can I say, my tarot channel, not on this channel, but I actually get paid for this on my actual website, and they always asking why, instead of really reflecting like on them, because I give them answers to the questions they need, of course, but sometimes they're not taking accountability. There you go. And they want to always think that they're a victim and they deserve it. Again, it's not really that you deserve these things. It's a lesson, man. And even if you don't believe in soul contracts and not our past life, a lot of the things that's going on with people is from past life, straight up. And if you don't believe that, I would honestly tell you, I can't change your mind, but I will say this: try to live a balanced life and forgive and let go. You're gonna have to forgive, because if a soul does not want to forgive and it keeps thinking it's a victim, no matter what has happened to you physically, spiritually, mentally, you maybe end up coming back carnate again, and you might be faced with darker entities when you leave Earth, because the fact that the thing about it is it's bringing fear and torture to your own mind, and you are your own devil. And that's the shadow aspect of your soul in the zodiac sign placements. And so whatever the universe sees you're doing, like attracts like. So you'll start having psychic attacks. And if somebody was to send you something, you'll be more vulnerable because you let yourself get into a lower state of consciousness, being depressed. And then you have all these negative beings and spirits coming to you. Actually, humans are spirits. And you wonder what's going on. And you start attracting narcissistic people because of you. So it doesn't mean you deserve to get beat up or hurt. But sometimes we have to realize we've been so damaged, right, in life, that it's like we kind of like almost lose hope. And even though we feel like we have hope, our thoughts are not matching our subconscious, because our subconscious doesn't know wrong for right. It just knows. Our conscious is always overthinking things, and sometimes over criticize people and abusive to our own selves, and also staying in relationships that's not meant for us and not being aware. And of course, is where when we're young, we don't know everything. We're kind of naive. We got to grow into wisdom at times. But I would definitely, if you're watching this video, try to use your discernment and pray, or do whatever you believe in, and set boundaries, people. Because again, you're talking to a man where I have been assaulted. I've been physically hurt by my own roommate when I was in college, a man. And I'm a man talking about this. I'm a straight male talking about this. I have no problems with this. Yeah. And so at the end of the day, I'm still breathing. I'm still alive. I've been to I've been on a lot of deployments. I've been on 10 or 12 deployments. I've been in Iraq 4 or 5 times. In the Afghanistan area, I've been Somalia. I've been drug raiding. I've had terrorists follow me around. I've had guns pointed at me, and I'm still alive. And again, I repeat myself, I'm 39 years old. I was born in '84. So I might not look like I'm not a child. I might sound young, but I'm not. I've been to college too as well. And like I told everybody, I got these tattoos when I was in the service as memorabilia of every place I've been to, what I've been through. Not that I needed to. And again, I've seen how life changed and how technology has progressed. And I just see that everything's at a push of a button, but we don't read no more. We don't think for ourselves. And so I just wanted to make this video to waken people up, man, that you're going to be fine. But also sure to answer that question that some of the people asked me in the comment section. That's how I use the astrology chart to help me pretty much predict outcomes in my future. And again, also I look at my own intuition, my own inner self. This makes sense. And I actually use my tarot cards too, also at times, sometimes, to ask, how is certain placements in my natal chart affecting me. And a lot of times, 99% of the time, it's spot on. Because to me, even though we use not natal chart, even though some people use tarot to help others like you guys, or I use my own mediumship, it's really supposed to be to like self-heal and self-help yourself, not in a selfish way, but to self-evolve. And then you can spread the wisdom to others. But the sad thing is when people also don't trust others, or they don't trust knowledge, because we live in a world of doubt and fear. And also off of what people look like, because I hate to say this, even though people say it's not about what people look like, it is to a certain extent, because we are judging people off look like. Because when you walk up to a stranger, or a stranger walks up to you, you don't know their intentions. So you kind of have to see a visual. Do they seem safe? You look at your eyes and do the eyes and the physical, and then you look at the soul. So again, you have to look at your own soul. Like, why am I doing this? Just what I'm saying is, go back to your astrology chart. Look at why are you doing these actions. Also, is this inherited from family members? Again, do I have my guard up because I've always been abused and I can't let it go? Why isn't the counselors working for me? Maybe because you have trust issues. You just don't trust anything. No advice sounds right for you. And so, again, if that's what happens, the universe sees this, right? And then you might start attracting, how can I say, non-trustworthy people. It's that serious. It's like, how can I say, how we view evil and good is not exactly what you think. I'm telling you, man, like, you gotta open that mind up, guys. You gotta, just like how this light is bright on my face, we have to open the mindset up a little more. I don't want to keep going on a rant. I might make another video about other than astrology, but also numerology, but mainly about how to be more spiritually connected in a more balanced way to get through trauma. Yeah. And this is also a man who's talking to psychologists. I've actually been talking to psychologists when I was in the military, going through stuff. And also I went to school for that at times. So at the end of the day, I know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, so that's all I have to say, man. I kind of making sure I didn't miss anything. Nah, that's pretty much all I'm hearing. If y'all got any questions, put it in the comment section. And if I can't answer the question in the comment section, I might make another video that answers certain people's specific questions and go on more details. I'm trying not to bore you guys. But yeah, that's my little spiel. As y'all know, I'll probably put some more, tarot readings and mediumship readings out. And y'all know how I am. Sometimes I like to talk like this and put out messages when I feel compelled to. So with that being said, man, my name is Knight. And I wish y'all a blessed day wherever y'all at. Blessed be.